Laura was coming up the hill north by the golf course.
I'm walking with Steve Shin along Pershing Drive in Balboa Park. 2.5 years ago, on a sunny morning in July, Steve's wife Laura was riding her bike from her home downtown to SDSU. She worked there as an architect and campus planner.
There was just a slight curve, a very slight curve in the road. She was in the bike lane.
Laura was probably catching her breath after riding uphill when a driver struck her from behind. He was going the speed limit at the time, 50 miles per hour.
He hit her so hard that she was actually ripped out of her shoes that were clipped into the bike. We were always very careful in our cycling and had helmets and lights and safety gear and mirrors that we could see behind us. But all of that wasn't enough.
Laura Shin died that day. She was 57.
We did everything together. We were in the same profession. I realized with her loss that it was like losing half of me.
Just 2 months after Laura's death, tragedy struck again in the same place. A driver hit and killed 34-year-old Johnny Sepulveda as he was riding a scooter. Both lives may have been saved if Pershing Drive had had a protected bike lane. There's one under construction now, but it's years behind schedule.
It's just discouraging that it actually took 2 deaths to get the city and Sandag to step up and start to make the improvements that were slated to already be done that could have saved both of those people.
In 2015, San Diego signed on to Vision Zero, a campaign to end all traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2025. The idea was to redesign streets to make pedestrian and bike safety priority number 1. But with just over a year left until the city's Vision Zero deadline, the death toll of San Diego streets is essentially unchanged.
We try our very best to balance the needs of all users.
Mayor Todd Gloria says much of San Diego was designed around the car, and changing that takes time.
We need to balance our system to take into consideration the needs, and particularly the safety needs of pedestrians, cyclists, transit users, and others. And the projects that are happening all across the city try to achieve that particular balance. We don't always get it right.
The response has still been, I think, mostly supportive in terms of words, but not a lot of action.
Since losing his wife, Steve Shin has thrown himself into activism. He joined Families for Safe Streets San Diego, a coalition of others who have lost loved ones to traffic violence. They're asking Mayor Gloria for a massive increase in spending on bike and pedestrian safety infrastructure.
I understand that we have tight budgets, but at the same time, when we have plans in place and goals in place and we're not following through on those, I think the city needs to do more to figure out how they're allocating dollars.
Shin wants his wife to be remembered for her work and her advocacy in architecture and planning. Laura Shin wanted to build cohesive, sustainable neighborhoods, and she practiced what she preached.
She would ride the trolley or bike to work every day. Again, trying to really encourage those other ways of getting around the city and really to try to reduce our carbon footprint and create a more sustainable environment. It was especially hard, much harder than I had ever imagined, losing her. So again, that's partly why I've joined Families for Safe Streets, was really to go out and advocate to make sure that other people don't have to go through a similar kind of traumatic experience.
Families for Safe Streets is leading a walk and bike ride in Balboa Park Saturday morning to remember and honor their loved ones. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.